thank you so much for joining us this afternoon as we talk about supply chain, but also in an era of climate change, which you all know. I think we can feel it year after year. We can feel it whether we're in the Middle East or in Africa or Asia or the Americas. So it is a global issue and the challenge which all we face. I think we felt it also during the COVID, which is another issue, whether it is related to climate change, question mark, was there any connection? But what we felt was there was disruption, and disruption in having our food permanently or dealing with really complex issues to make sure that we have food. Here we have our panelists on the screen with their function, and I'm very pleased to moderating this session. It's also a topic which is close to my heart. I've been in the UN for many years, working on climate finance, climate resilience, adaptation, and I'm happy also to hear and have perspective of this one as you all are here. So we have Alena, who is the supply chain director, chain operation at ADCO. So welcome.
Thank you.
We have Scott Chambers, who is the CEO of Souq here in the UAE. Welcome. Mahdi, who just joined us, and will also share the perspective. And Francis, who work with as a global head sustainable value chain, Advanta Seeds. So I will start maybe with you. I think we have 4 men and 1 woman, so we are not balanced at all. But anyway, so we will give you now the floor. So your company provide unmatched quality, innovation, and integrity in the food industry. And in this time of climate crisis and conflict in general, what is the strategy behind your company in terms of building resilience to shocks? And how do you constantly reinvent yourself to keep the supply chain moving?
Thank you, Pathe. Thank you, everyone who is in the area. So my name is Alena Kavalchuk. I'm supply chain director at Coop. At Coop, it's a retail company. It's a part of Meir Group, and Meir Group has its focus on supporting food security agenda of UAE. And we are, as retail, we have more than 100 stores, different format. It's hypermarkets, supermarkets, convenience store. And of course, our focuses are quite simple. We need to have the shelf full. We need to keep our prices fair, and we need to have our food safe. So and it doesn't matter whether it's climate change or any turbulence in the geopolitical situation. So we need to make our customers to be satisfied with the level of our service to them. So I would like to mention 5 focus areas where we work on to keep our supply chain sustainable, I would say. And the first one is we focus on the risk assessment on a weekly basis. We have a SNOP cycle with our CEO as a head of this meeting, with the commercial team, with the operational team and marketing, and we discuss all the risks that can happen in supply chain and in operations. So we have always full shelves. And the result of this meeting, we always share with all the suppliers their service level for the last week, and we expect them to come back with any suggestion if there are some disruption in the supply chain. Second point is we focus on the critical products. We finalize a list of 7,000 main items that we need to keep in every our store. And we have the daily data reports on this, so any branch in charge, any manager can get these reports daily and focus on these 7,000 main items. And we will centralize this. We already started centralization of this critical list of items in our central DC, so we can keep the stock around at least 30 days to prevent any disruption in supply chain. Third point is data transparency. Due because I believe that collaboration in supply chain is critical, because in supply chain, 1 + 1 is always equal 3, because retailer wins, supplier wins, and also customer wins. So it's 3, not 2. And we provide the data to all our suppliers through the vendor portal. They can get all the data on inventory in every store, in DC, shelf availability, out of stock. So it also helps them to support their planning. Number 4, what we are focusing is localization. If you go to the beginning of the fair, you will find our stand with private brands. We launched a new private brand, Yalla, and all the producers for our private brand are local UAE producers. And this also support in the climate agenda, and we don't expect any disruption because of any global problems, geopolitical problems. And the last one, what I want to focus on is our public partnership with UAE government on the UAE's food security agenda, because you know that the focus of UAE is to support and to build the food security program to 2051. And recently we signed the exclusive agreement with Department of Municipalities and Transport of Abu Dhabi to manage the Abu Dhabi Citizens Food Product Program. So UAE citizens will get the opportunity to have the access to critical products with a subsidized price through our 50 stores and through the digital TAM software. And through this, we can support the UAE citizens with most critical product. So I believe our focus on localization, on collaboration, agility, and critical products is essential if you want to collaborate and if you want to build resilience in supply chain.
Excellent. So I hear you also talking about technology, and I think in the seafood industry, just take me to Scott, because it's another industry which we are looking at the seafood, and you've been working also in this sector for many years. Now, in the seafood industry, there is always the issue of traceability. So what are the key challenges and how important it is, particularly into this context of also climate risk and conflict?
Yeah, thanks, Amath. I think what's really important just to acknowledge and to grasp at the outset is just how huge the seafood industry is. We're talking about a $2 trillion industry annually. We're talking about a third of the world's population that currently rely on seafood as a source of protein, and over 600 million people are employed by some form or sector within the industry. So it is a giant industry that we're incredibly reliant upon with a growing world population that today is quite poorly understood. You have got over 2,300 different species of seafood, and compared to your chicken and beef, that's a lot more complex in terms of understanding the nuances and uniqueness of each one of those supply chains. It's also an extremely old industry, one of the oldest in the world, that has always been quite opaque in its nature. Something ingrained, I think, in the industry has been a protection of information. So there's always almost an initial aversion or skepticism around traceability and transparency. However, for us to be able to better manage this industry for a sustainable future, we need to understand that data better to get a clearer picture, higher resolution of what's happening across wild-caught fisheries and aquaculture today. And in order to do that, we've been building technology solutions that are interoperable, that essentially connect all of these silos and fragmented supply chains through one common language. And that's been our approach today with traceability and seafood.
Yeah, no, excellent. I think we will also look at another industry, which is vertical farming, Mahdi. And I think it's also something now that is growing, in the world. And we have also the climate element, which is in there. So what's really the impact of, the climate into the vertical farming? And how do you also deal with the value chain supply in this context?
Well, my name is Mahdi Alhindawi. I am the CEO and founder of Injazponik. In Injazponik, we do R&D since 6 years for vertical farming, hydroponics techniques, and sustainable farms, smart farms, combining the glass technology to control the environment or close environment inside the buildings. This is our scope 4. When we talk about vertical farming and the impact, like we are talking about supply chain and these things, which is maybe quite a specific segment from it, that the supply chain of the food and the supply chain of the fast impacting food, let's say, or vegetables or fruit, which is, if we look to it from the side of non-stability in logistic all the time because of many things, because of weather, because of political things, because of any circumstances that can impact the supply chain overall, even in prices or in delay or in whatever. If we look to it from the perspective of the food waste, like the quantity of the food that we waste during the supply chain process operation, if we look to it from the difficulty in having some type of herbs or type of fruits which you can't have it in your area, all of these things, it's impacting positively the supply chain perspective. Once you have the vertical farms, it's urban farms, you can do it inside the cities, you can see it inside the malls, you can see it inside, on the top of any roof of any building. We have a huge areas of buildings where we are, let's say, in UAE we have hot weather, and we have almost 6 or 7 months of a lovely weather for farming. The issue always in this 5 months, which is, let's say, from June to end of October, how to manage to keep a really sustainable farms in UAE, and this is the challenge what we face right now. So once you have the supply chain, it's from the city itself. Like imagine you supply the strawberry in the summer in UAE, where is the temperature 45, and you have fresh strawberry and you supply to the market. When we talk about, for example, strawberry, it's a very, very sensitive product in the logistic, in the supply chain. It's very required product. Or when we talk about natural flowers, or when we talk about herbs which we use in cosmetics, or when we talk on the herbs we use in medicine. So a lot of herbs and vegetables and fruits, we need it in here, and we pay a lot in logistics and supply chain, and sometimes it's that fluctuation in that industry worldwide, it's impacting negatively who's depending his industry or his work or his working in that segment. And there we are, there is the point we are focusing actually on it in finding solutions and keep doing R&D in how to really have sustainable farm with temperature, like flat temperature the whole year. We are targeting to have flat temperature of 22 Celsius the whole year by using different type of technology, by merging the solar panel with the insulation of glass, with the insulation of coating. We use the technology of the controllers. Now we start to merge the AI in these things to get higher result in I believe this industry, it will change all of it. Like the vertical farms, it could change the farming perspective worldwide. As what we see each year, the jump, it's not small jump. Like from last year to this year, what you see in the exhibition, or what the advanced devices available right now, and what we are going to see next year. It's a big jump. It's not you see a little improvement in something. You see completely new technology. You see a completely a new innovation in that area. So now in developing, we are on process. We are developing a robotic for that. We are trying to develop a drone for that. So whenever that is ready, and I believe it's soon, you will see the vertical farm I believe in everywhere it will be a very easy, systematic, it's playing role from all aspects, from supply chain, from carbon reduction, from increasing the oxygen, from food security, from sustainability. Like the vertical farm, it's a solution, it's not easy, but it's once it's really solid and rigid, and it will change a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah. No, excellent. I think now beside vertical farm, you have also a horizontal farm, but we still need seeds, you know, and I think discussion is for Francis. You've been also with Advanta Seeds, which is a global player on the seeds, and in the climate context, you're always improving seed, the adaptation to climate, but at the same time, you have to keep the high nutritional value. So what's really the strategy to keep, like, you know, food on our table, because the seeds are there, and then the productivity is good, but at the same time, the nutritional value. So building that resilience while keeping also those KPIs. So how do you keep always the performance?
No, thank you. Very well framed question here. Very important. Seed, as we know, is a foundation of the value chain. No, is a foundation of food security. You know, and as I was thinking about it, you know, the people, the farmers who produce our food are also producing the seed. You have to use the same farm, and you have to face the same challenges. So, trying to get that right from the beginning is a big challenge, and is so important, you know, for this food security. But first of all, I want to say thank you for AFSF, Dr. Mohammed, for inviting me for this meeting, a very important discussion here that is happening over the 2 days. Advanta Seeds is a global company. Dr. Pathe, as you said, we operate in 84 countries around the world. And one way of ensuring continuous, uninterrupted seed supply is to have spread out geographical locations for the production of the seed. Okay, so this is so important because you know the climate events happening across the world. The conflict is another dimension that we are dealing with. But the key is to spread out the seed production in different geographies to meet the needs of different countries. Second is continuous innovation in the germplasm. So it's you have got a good product, you've got a good seed. It's not going to take you forever. No, you have to continuously innovate to meet the challenges that we are facing in each and every country, be it weather-related, be it pest-related, be it nutrition-related, right? So we have to continuously innovate on your germplasm. So of course, you have a lot of technologies that are available. So Advanta takes advantage of all these technologies to design the seed that is fit for each country and each region. Okay, and then of course, having a geographical spread, you make the production of that seed and you deliver. The third area is obviously to have technology related to forecasting the climate change, the weather patterns and things like this to bring it in, but also bring in technology related to the production itself, be it drones, be it IoT technology that you deploy to manage from moisture to pest to harvesting, right? And then, as I was saying, we have to continuously work with the farmer to make sure that we get the seed we need. And of bringing the technology, you still have to work with the people. So what technology we can bring to the farmer to help him to be resilient, more efficient, so that we have the seed that volumes that we need. And finally, the collaboration with the government. So the public-private partnerships are so important to ensure seed availability in different countries. And for testing, making it easier for testing, for doing research, and finally making it available for the farmers to use that seed to get the best production that they can have. Right? So those are the different aspects of trying to create a very resilient supply chain in the seed business.
No, thank you very much and for giving us those insights. Maybe I'll just restart again from this side with Alena. You know, you talk about collaboration, but this is also an open question for all of you, partnership, because you are also in a supply chain where you are an actor among other actors, other key players. And how do you keep that partnership moving? And everybody also is aware about these climate shocks or conflict shocks. So shocks in general. So to make sure that everyone's work and you have that ecosystem building the resilience, climate resilience to make the business moving.
So I think that I already mentioned this, how we deal with our suppliers, with our partners, because we as retailers, we have more than 100,000 SKUs in the store. So you can imagine that we have more than 200 suppliers. And of course, we are not in the country where we have all products localized. So most of the goods we import from other countries. And of course, I believe that partnership, collaboration, and open conversation is critical, because if everyone is trying to play on his own field without taking into consideration the full supply chain, end-to-end supply chain, we end up with empty shelves, with high price, and we don't have customers in our retail. So we can sell the goods only when they are on the shelf. And suppliers, retailers, we need to understand this. And only if we play together, we can make our customer to be happy, to get the product by better price, and to also to have the full traceability in supply chain, so we can also guarantee the quality of the goods. So partnership, collaboration, and open data for all the participants in supply chain is very, very critical.
Excellent. So maybe the same question for you.
Yes,
Scott?
yeah. I'd love to expand on that. So just to give everybody a quick overview of a seafood supply chain to begin with, because I think that helps in the discussion, is to break it down quite simply. So you have either wild-caught fisheries or aquaculture, and that is at your source. That's where all seafood is coming from, either from the sea or an aquaculture site. Next from there, you can have a processor or wholesaler or distributor or exporter, which is essentially the middle portion of that chain. This is simplifying it quite a bit, but these are the main elements. Then you've got an importer of record in country, if this is cross-border traded seafood, that will distribute that product. And then finally, closer to the consumer, you have large buyers like retailers or hotel groups, and then finally your consumer. So along that chain, one of the things that we've found in our mission to help build a better blue economy is that we need to establish key partnerships that have great impact and that are aligned and committed to traceability being the precursor to sustainability. So a lot of regional partnerships that we've established with large hotel groups mean that they've put in place one of our products, which is called SFS Audit, and that gives them a verification across all of their suppliers and all of their seafood products that there is digital provenance for the origin that can be proven for each one of those products. A couple of other statistics that sort of drive home the importance for this need of traceability is that 25% of seafood on average is actually wasted. So that means it's coming from the sea, and 25% of that seafood doesn't actually reach a plate or shelf in a supermarket. And that's, arguably the worst crime, because everybody loses in that instance. Until we can start to actually have a digital verified version of that journey where we're actually tracking things in a much better way than has been done before, that number can creep up, and we just don't have the visibility on it. So it's quite hard to manage what you're not able to measure. And what we find is when we establish these partnerships at the end of that spectrum, so the consumer being more aware of things helps because they're walking into restaurants and hotels and realizing they have a right to know where their seafood comes from. Is it safe for my family if I'm buying it from a shelf in a supermarket? Is it the quality product that the chef is telling me that it is? Now, the downward pressure that that puts when a hotel group commits to this means that all of their seafood suppliers, and perhaps even further back at source, to the origin where they're sourcing that seafood, they now know that they're being measured to a different scorecard, which is not just quality, service, and price, but now it's about being honest and trust being that new currency with your product. So we find that through our mandate or mission to actually have as many people as possible adopt traceability, securing clients like that that are aligned with those goals actually helps really kind of spread adoption when it comes to the products that enhance traceability.
Thank you. And Mahdi, the same question on partnership and collaboration to still keep this climate resilient in vertical farming?
Where I can see that our specific segment playing a role in that, it's the data. Like whenever we have a data for the waste, and to see that figures and numbers, the problems that in logistic, where we can start immediately the development for that. Like, what the purpose to find a solution for something you have no problem with it? No, we have to see only the list. Like, we have to figure out the list of problems and what's the type of crops and fruits you have problems with it first, and then to target the top 10. To find a solution for the top 10, and then to go in that way, like the important and the next importance and the next importance and the next importance. If we figure out in numbers that a real problem in specific segment, in a specific crop, it's specific, you face always problems in deliver it, and there's damage in it. It's very sensitive in temperature. It's very sensitive in time. For any delay, it's getting in damage. For any delay in port, it's getting in damage. These things, actually, whenever we have a clear data, or clear direction to focus on it. Like sometimes we lose our focusing because we don't have this data. Like, but whenever we have this data, or it's very clear this data, it's giving the opportunity for researchers to dig in that direction, to be fast in that direction, to find the solution for the most important thing, and then to go and to leave your time then to the second important thing. Not sometimes you will not realize that you are in the third or 10th importance. You dig there, but you are not, because you don't know what's the first priority. So I believe if from different organizations, like we are too far industry from the logistic, let's say, we have no connection as a researcher in vertical farming and developing the setup itself. They have connection with the producer, the farms itself, like who's exporting and importing. But who's developing the product, the solutions, these things, sometimes not we are in touch in the farmers, but we are not in touch in bigger organization or the other industry, which is, let's say, linked to that segment, from supply chain, from distribution, to look to it as a full process, from what you say, as what he said, like from seeds to the end, like all of that process, finally it has numbers in problems, like in the end. Doesn't matter where it happened in that operation, but finally to reach to our country in here, we have these numbers of problems. If we figure out the crops and the type of food where we have the problem in it, and we start to find the solution first for it, I believe this cooperation will be adding positive point in that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll finish with Francis on, you supply seeds also around the globe and also the region, so, or in a country, different sub-district or region. So again, you talk about collaboration, but when it comes to partnership and resilience building of all these mechanisms, so how do you deal with?
Yes, no, thank you. No, I would like to talk about, the partnership and collaboration for the seed business. It starts at every level, from research and development to how do you partner to get the best rate in your seed, be it agronomic or nutritional, to testing, to getting registrations, to doing seed production research in the local area. So the partnerships are at every level and the collaboration. But what I would like to focus about today is specifically with the theme of our conference here, Global Food Week, is the value chain partners, right? So working with the value chain partners and understanding what they need, and then going back and designing the seed that is required for that particular purpose is the best value one can generate. And that's the collaboration I spend particularly a lot of time. To just give you a few examples here. One is, the food industry is looking for solid fat, which is sustainable, which is available year-round, and it's not so expensive like the other tropical fats from shea or cocoa butter and things like this. So one specific example here is on sunflower, where we work together to get a product which is high stearic, high oleic sunflower oil, which is stable at room temperature. So it remains as a solid fat. So just instead of depending on animal fat or palm stearine, which are more the economic types, solid fat that you can get, to then have a sunflower, which is a crop that grows all over the world, and as a sustainable source, is creating a lot of value for all those industries, like plant-based fat or butter, margarine, or in bakeries, or in chocolate production, or in ice cream, various applications. Here in this event, there is alternate protein as a big focus area. For this sector as well, having a solid fat in preparation of alternative proteins recipes is very important. So that's one example. The other example that we work together is corn to ethanol. As you know, more and more countries are adopting to go to biofuels, and corn is one of the feedstock. So how do you have higher starch content in the corn to get better conversion to bioethanol, right? But the second value chain of the same process is DDGS, distillers dried grain solids, which goes for poultry feed, right? And they are looking for higher protein content. Okay, so how do you manage these two requirements from the same harvest? And then finally, you cannot use the DDGS if it has aflatoxin. So how do you make sure you don't have aflatoxin in the crop that you harvested, so that the farmer and the processor get the full value of it? So this is all you can manage and try to solve this problem right at the beginning of the value chain, at the seed. But you can only do that when you have partnerships and collaboration, good communication with all the value chain partners.
Yeah.
So just...
Thank you so much. That brings us to an end of this session. So we are being signaled that we have another session. But I would like to take the opportunity to thank you so much for sharing this insight from your different industries. And we look forward also to continuing, building the resilience of all industry against different various shocks, particularly climate and conflict. So again, thanks.
Thanks,
and
Mark.
thanks also
Thank
to
you
the
very
audience
much.
for
Thanks very much. Thank you.
being with us. Thank you.